What's happening? Hotter than normal out there.
Josh, Bucky Irving had 25 carries. He's not exactly Derrick Henry. Is that sustainable for him?
I think each week is determined on how the game's going. He knows if we need him and he goes 25 or if it's 15 or if it might need to be 30, whatever it takes to get the win that week and then be able to adjust off of that moving forward potentially.
Josh, how, I don't know if concern's the word, but with Baker not doing a lot, by design in practice with the bicep and whatever, is it mental reps? Like, how do you prepare him for Philadelphia?
Yeah, he was limited, and he was able to – he's in, of course, all the meetings, all the walkthroughs, and he does such a good job of preparing already, a lot like what Teddy was doing, where everybody's on the same page, even Bays talking through the, practice squad side of it on contingency plans for even him, like week one. So it's all about mental reps, and he's taking all those and getting them and is in a good spot and watching all the film and getting all the protections and cans and all the thing in order.
You feel pretty good he'll be out there on Sunday?
He's as tough as they come. So I know being limited today, we still got another day to work through it, but you see the way the guy practices, plays, if he can play, he'll play.
I think he might be overlooked at times, but how important has Sterling Shepard been so far this season? Some key third downs, a big play on that final scoring drive as well.
For sure. The ball, it finds him at the right time. It's an unbelievable play on that bubble to be able to get it out there and make an explosive run or explosive run after catch on that one. And then what he's able to do in the 2-minute as well, being able to have not a game ceiling, but such a massive play to get us down there into field goal range. And it's all about the communication with him. It's really cool to see from him and Baker, just because they've been doing it so long, going all the way back to Oklahoma, that they're on the same page. They can just look at each other and know exactly what the other one's thinking.
It's not been easy for you. You've been without a lot of star power to start. Now Mike is down. But you guys have had to navigate this last year, not having Mike and Chris out there. You do have Emeka and Shep and some other weapons. It's maybe not as bad as it was last year. But what did you guys learn from not having some top weapons out there during that stretch?
It's just about the adjustments on whether it's the O-line or the backs or the receivers on trying to tailor it towards what those guys do well. There's no different than last week with Klein being in there and Hags being in there on not asking them to do the same things that the guy that was ahead of them might be able to do. And they might have a different skill set that we can now utilize and try to tailor it towards them on a week-in, week-out basis. That way we're putting those guys in as good a position possible to go out and make plays.
Josh, I want to ask you about the tight ends and how they fit this offense. I don't think Cade Otten had a target against the Jets, and he's only had 7 on the year. And then I'm not sure if Payne gotten many either. Is that mostly because kind of with the offensive line injuries you guys are dealing with, you're kind of using them to help block more often, or is it like you mentioned, kind of more of the game dictates where the targets go sort of thing?
Yeah, the game does dictate it, but to your point, what those guys have been able to do is they're very selfless on what we've needed, at least up until this point, on a lot of the things that Cade's been doing. It has been in that wing alignment, helping out the offensive line. We know that his time will come, the ball will find him, and it's just a hats off to him that he might not have the targets he's had up to this point last year, or even through the middle of the season, but typical Cade, not complaining about it, whatever it takes to win, 3-0, move on to the next one, see how much he can get him the ball this week.
You said the injuries change in terms of you want to focus on the strengths of the guys that are in the game. Does it limit what you do as a play caller, though?
I don't know if it limits it as much because we still want to be multiple and be able to run it and throw it and put the pressure on the defense. It's just more of being multiple. What's that guy's skill set if, say, you're not as fast, not throwing a bunch of go balls, versus if he's a very strong route runner, can we get some more contested catches and feel like he's going to be open on that? But I wouldn't say it limits it from a volume aspect in terms of going into a game plan each week.
How important is red zone efficiency this week?
It's huge. It's huge. Coach Fangio's a fantastic coach. They keep the top on everything, trying to limit explosive plays, and that's where ultimately the game is won or lost, is getting it down into the red zone and being able to convert and having 7 points instead of 3. Because I know that's what they hang their hat on, and that's one thing we got to be better at from last week too.
If Tristan was able to go, and potentially if you went this way, you could, maybe move Barton back to center and, obviously have Brennan center guard, just to get guys in their own spots. How much more does that unlock your offense? Because that's sort of who you are.
Yeah. It's similar to the question about what guys do best and fitting them into that spot. I would say it doesn't change the offense necessarily in terms of the scheme, but you do feel better from a communication standpoint because they've done it all of last year. They did it a bunch in the spring, and then they're at their normal spots. But in terms of the actual scheme, I don't know how much it changes that side of it too much.
The idea is to win the game, and you guys have done it the same way the last 3 weeks and the last minute. That's not, who cares, right? But it's unusual. Do you have a sense of, because of all the injuries, just potentially how good this team is yet? Or is this like a great test right here because you got the Super Bowl champions coming in and you'll have a better measure?
Yeah, it's definitely a great test this week because of them coming off the Super Bowl and the players that they've been able to add in addition to a great coaching staff. I would say the way we look at it is just such week to week on trying to get that one win, and fortunately we've been able to pull it out late the first 3 weeks and then try to get a win this week and then move on to whoever we play next week and go from there. But it's just there's only so many minutes in a day to be able to focus on what we got to get done that week. Seattle. Road trip.
That tandem inside Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis on film, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, I feel like, again, we say it every week up here with these D linemen, but these guys are as good as they come. They're massive in the middle and definitely a strength of their defense. They're really good at all 3 levels of the defense, but that when you go turn on the tape, that's what sticks out first and foremost is those 2 guys in there being able to handle them, their ability to come off the ball, their play strength, their tenacity. So it's definitely something we got to handle.
Josh, when you look at the potential for Chris Godwin to come back this week, how do you think he opens up the offense and really complements a guy who's very similar in Emeka Egbuka?
Yeah, it's a tough time because they're always compared to each other, and it's hard for me to actually compare them because they're their own man. But you do see some of the same attributes in the fact that they can both play multiple positions. They can move around the offense. They're selfless. They have a huge route tree. You can get the ball to them in multiple ways. So by being able to get the ball to Chris in multiple ways, you can move him around, play all 3 positions. He can be singled up. He can be in a stack, whatever it might be. And he does the dirty work in the run game, which you guys have seen over the years. So he's just a great, not addition to the team, but it's just great to see him back out there at practice yesterday.
You were a witness to how hot of a start he had. I mean, he was one of the leading receivers in the NFL. When you see him out there go through a full practice, that's got to bring a smile to your face.
Oh, it's fantastic. For one, because of just the human being that he is. So you enjoy when the guys are in the training room, you just don't spend as much time with them. Then you're out there on the grass and you're in the meeting rooms and you're talking to them about plays and adjustments to plays. It's just fun to talk to him and have him out there just because of the presence he brings. And then on the field, I think it goes without saying how good of a player he is and what he adds to the offense.
How much is this team right now riding its quarterback, and because of his clutch gene when you really need it?
Yeah, it goes through him. It's always gone through him, at least for the last 2 years. He makes it go. It's the confidence they have in him. And the fact that we've been able to do it 3 weeks in a row is a testament to all 11 of them. But when you hear his demeanor on the sideline and what he's saying to those guys, and when it gets down to the end and they're blocking a kick and now we got to go back out there, he never flinches. He's very clear in his communication. You know he's going to fight through the echo of the whistle. And when they see that, guys are going to block for him. They're going to get open. They're going to get back on the ball and try to go score.
Josh, with O'Keefe being out for the year, how do you see the run game changing? Is Payne Durham somebody that might fill in kind of that blocking tight end role?
I think you can't replace Coe from who he has as a human being. I mean, he's an enforcer. I look at Payne a lot of the same way, where those guys are willing to do the dirty work. You're not going to replace him from a schematic standpoint on what he can bring in terms of his ability on certain things versus what Payne and what Cade and those guys can do. But in terms of the run game and just being that physical nature, whether it is the O-line, Payne brings that as well, Cade brings that as well, and it really sets the tempo, especially in some of that 12 personnel run game, to be able to go press on people.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.